Welcome back, history enthusiasts, to another deep dive into the fascinating chapters of military history. I am your host, Hari, ready to explore the past.
And I am Kimmy, your co-host. Today, we are heading directly into the scorching North African theater of the Second World War to unpack a British offensive that certainly lived up to its descriptive name, Operation Brevity.
Taking place in mid-May 1941, it was conceived by General Archibald Wavell. The goal was to deliver a rapid blow against Axis frontline forces near the Egypt-Libya border.
To understand the urgency, we rewind to September 1940. Italian forces invaded Egypt, but the British and Commonwealth forces responded with Operation Compass, pushing 500 miles into Libya and destroying the Italian 10th Army.
Following that success, British priorities shifted. Troops were diverted to Greece. Meanwhile, a real game-changer arrived in Tripoli, the German Africa Corps, commanded by Lieutenant General Erwin Rommel.
Rommel, always the opportunist, realized his opponents were overstretched. Without waiting for his full force, he launched a rapid offensive, driving British forces back to the Egyptian border by April 1941.
However, the vital port city of Tobruk held out, threatening Rommel's long supply chain. He committed his main strength to besieging it, leaving his front lines thinly held.
General Wavell wanted to exploit this. On May 15th, Brigadier William Gott advanced in 3 parallel columns to grab territory for a future offensive and bleed the local Axis forces.
Here's a fascinating fact. When the central column reached Halfaya Pass, they ran into highly trained Italian motorized infantry, the Bersaglieri, commanded by Colonel Ugo Montemuero.
They fought tenaciously. Realizing their anti-tank guns could not pierce the thick armor of the British Matildas, they waited until the tanks climbed over low walls, exposing their weaker undercarriages.
By targeting those weak points, they disabled 7 heavily armored British tanks. This action so impressed Rommel that he recommended Montemuero for the Iron Cross First Class.
Despite fierce resistance, the British captured the position and moved on to Fort Capuzzo. They eventually secured it by midday, but the battle was intense.
We have to mention Sergeant F. Riley of the 2nd Scots Guards. During a probe, he charged heavy machine gun positions in his universal carrier, neutralizing them quickly.
When engaged by anti-tank guns, Riley executed a second charge, silencing them and taking the crews prisoner despite being hit 3 times. He earned the military medal for his bravery.
Strategically, things were chaotic. Operation Brevity caught the Axis completely off guard. The Germans erroneously believed the British were attacking with over 100 tanks, sparking genuine panic.
Rommel rushed reinforcements. The frontline commander, Colonel Maximilian von Herf, launched a counterattack toward Fort Capuzzo, hitting the 1st Durham Light Infantry hard. Lacking proper anti-tank support, the British retreated.
A fortuitous dust cloud covered their withdrawal. However, by mid-afternoon, the Germans had recaptured Capuzzo. The 1st Durham Light Infantry ended up losing 196 men over the operation.
Over on the desert flank, the Germans mistakenly identified a patrol of light cruiser tanks as heavily armored Matildas. Because of this misidentification, Herf grew incredibly uneasy.
He thought the British had 2 full divisions massing for a sweeping northern thrust, so he broke contact, planning to combine forces for a massive counterattack the next morning.
Meanwhile, Brigadier Gott was equally nervous. Realizing his central column was highly vulnerable in open ground, he ordered a staged withdrawal back to the Halfaya Pass early on May 16th.
When the German advance resumed late that afternoon, it was halted by just 17 British tanks. The Germans thought they repulsed a massive assault, while the British calmly pulled back.
And just like that, Operation Brevity ended after essentially 1 day. The British only succeeded in retaking the Halfaya Pass, suffering over 200 casualties.
Speaking of casualties, it wasn't just the British who suffered. The Germans lost 3 tanks and 258 men killed, wounded, or captured. Italian losses were even heavier, estimated at around 395 men.
The bravery of the individual soldiers really stands out. Lieutenant Giacinto Cova, a platoon commander in the 8th Bersaglieri Regiment, received a posthumous Gold Medal of Military Valor, Italy's highest award for bravery.
His medal citation reported that he organized a counterattack and was killed while attempting to throw a handheld bomb directly at a British tank. Rommel himself later praised the Bersaglieri for defending the pass with lion-like courage to the last man.
Interestingly, Winston Churchill sent an enthusiastic telegram to General Wavell congratulating him, boasting about capturing 500 German prisoners and betraying a bit of ignorance regarding the tactical situation.
Churchill also asked about the newly arrived Tiger Cubs, referring to a convoy that delivered 238 new tanks to refit the 7th Armored Division for the upcoming Operation Brevity. Historian Thomas Jentz suggests Brevity could have actually been a major British victory. The gutsy tank patrols had convinced German commanders that the battle was already lost.
Because they failed to aggressively engage the British tanks, Rommel removed several commanders from their posts. If the British had pushed harder, they might have collapsed the Axis position.
Instead, Brevity merely highlighted the strategic importance of the Halfaya Pass. Just 11 days later, Rommel launched Operation Scorpion, recapturing the pass and erasing the only British territorial gain.
A rapid reversal, perfectly encapsulating the seesaw nature of the North African campaign. The desert offered no permanent victories, only temporary advantages paid for in blood and steel.
Very well said, Hari. It is time for us to sign off for today. We hope you enjoyed this brief yet impactful journey into World War II history. Until next time, take care, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone, and always remember to keep exploring the hidden stories of our past. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you next episode.
This episode is based on the Wikipedia article Operation Brevity, which is available under the Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike license. This podcast was crafted using artificial intelligence.